And then Wolves, he had the 3-man freeze as well. And because they had to huddle into that perfect little corner. And then Wolves is just like, nah.
Hiding, but you can't hide from Wolves. He's always going to chase you down. Ready to go, picks and bans for game number 2. Astro Authority trying to find their first 2-0 of this young split. Only week number 2, but Obey already started off week 1 with a 2-0 of their own. They're going to be playing in the last set of today, so make sure you stick around after this one. But Starboys, they get 0-2'd by Obey in week 1, so they really need these points here, Taco.
Starboys are certainly trying to look for the split, and I know Cloud, after his game 1 performance, I mean, you could say that Cloud's like hit or miss, and that was definitely a hit for him. Yeah. Unfortunately, his team was just unable to follow up. They just kept getting locked out of damage, or really just escape. Yeah,
that was impressive play out of the mid laner, even though Starboys end up falling pretty easily overall to Astral Authority. You really can't blame the new mid laner there. He did a ton of damage, didn't die until the very end. Had a pretty impressive performance through and through. Starboys immediately saying, I'm not trying to get stunned for 4 seconds straight. We're banning Chang'e right away. Astro Authority going to respond with the Kernanos.
I actually really like the Chang'e pick, because even though Chang'e doesn't necessarily have the greatest early game when it comes to her as a mid laner, the possibility of it still being a flex pick, it's just unnecessary to try and deal with.
Absolutely. Khepri now taken off the board by Starboys. That was banned by Astro Authority last time around, but Astro was in that first pick position. Now Starboys has the option for a couple different things, and just like last game, Osiris and Bellona left open. Neither were picked last time this happened. Fafnir open here as well. Terra, I mean, the possibilities for Starboys here are endless.
They're certainly endless, but it looks like they want to potentially look for the first pick, Zeus. And you can never really... Zeus is still a strong pickup. It would be a favorable god for Cloud, especially in that mid lane role. It's something that he's very accustomed to playing. And there is the AoE setup, but I do say that right now it's probably a risky choice, considering that now Astral Authority know what exactly they need to do, and that's just shut down Zeus, and it's pretty easy to lock down Zeus if you offer the CC route like they did last game.
I mean, Starboys, now, as you mentioned, Cloud loves to play this god, but Covey does as well. Covey is a hard carry when he gets Zeus, and so Starboys felt like they were trapped. They end up first picking it, and Astral Authority don't take Osiris, Bellona, Terra, or Fafnir. Instead, they go for the Wukong and the Poseidon, a very early mid lane pick in response to Starboys, who already have their mid laner.
What season is this?
Season 4, Summer Split.
Okay.
NA console. That's where we are, Taco.
Okay.
It's May 29th, unlike when you asked me earlier if it was April.
Okay, that was a legitimate question. All right, sometimes when your daily routine is the same, sometimes you just forget what month it is. I don't want to talk about it. But Athena and Raven selections for Starboys are going to be running the Raven back. I'd imagine that's again going in. It could possibly be solo lane this time around.
Could be.
But
But Joey Donuts had a decent start to that game, ended up falling quite a bit in that mid game, but I think that was more about Astral Authority's composition and how well it handled the Raven jungle than the actual pick itself. And Starboys take away that Athena from Brochacho, which I think is the right call. Don't want to give it to him when he looks so comfortable on it as he did last time. The problem is, just gave Transonics Hu Yi again.
And you can tell that Astral Authority also aren't certain of whether or not that Robin's going to be jungle with that Awelish ban, just in case. They want to make sure that Transonics isn't going to be a focal point for Starboys, because he was popping off in game number 1. So I could imagine he's trying to run it back with the Hu Yi. I do like, though, how Starboys took away the Athena selection from Astral Authority.
Yes, I agree with you. Brochacho was just too good on it, and it's time to take that away. And plus, it fits Starboy's composition pretty well. The Athenaton into the Zeus damage into the Robin route, you're standing there for a pretty long time. Got no problem with it. Astral Authority also recognized that there's plenty to deal with off that Athenaton, so Brochacho going for the Geb, trying to save the life of his carries here.
I really love the Geb selection, and I was thinking, what would Brochacho want to opt for with the Athena being off the table, but Geb is such an excellent defensive pick, especially against burst damage, which is what Zeus loves to provide, is that burst possibility. But when you're eating into a Geb shield, it becomes a little bit harder to just 100-0 somebody.
It absolutely does. Bellona and Cupid round it out for Starboys. Cameron loves to play that Cupid and goes pretty well here. Does well against the Geb, the Hu Yi, of course. And I was wondering if this was going to be the pick for Chaotic Purpose. He's played this before a couple times. Kabrakan in the jungle, just bringing more CC and lockdown to Astral Authority's composition. Plus, it does beautifully up against Athena, and Zeus. No way, and Cupid as well. No way to get up and over that Cabrakan ultimate.
Nobody on Starboys actually has a definite way to escape the Cabrakan ultimate other than Bellona and Robin expending their ultimates. And if they're having to expend their ultimates defensively, it's probably not the look that they're going for, considering I would say that Starboys are looking more for initiation than anything else. When you pick Geb, that's not really screaming initiate the team fights to me. That's counter-engaged all the way.
Exactly, but Chaotic Purpose can fill that initiation role on the Cabrakan, especially if he goes for a blink in that second relic slot. You see 3 sets of beads early on here for Astral Authority. No Sunders right off the bat, whereas Joey Donuts has again gone for that offensive selection. Looks like it was actually a Xing Chen, not an Athena there for Starboy. So a little bit more offensive, a little bit less initiation, I would say, but more oriented around the poke damage.
Xing Chen can also provide a solid matchup alongside of the Cupid, considering that he will have the AoE ultimate presence. So that'll be really nice to pair alongside of a Cupid for Cameron.
Can also fill that same role of Beads Burner, but someone needs to save Chaotic Purpose. Wolves does a good job of just going right for Clow. Clow has to use his Aegis, but is already in some trouble. Big Chain Lightning, lots of damage onto the solo laner. Brochacho still wants to try and chase this down. Wolves wanted it as well. The Tremble's coming out. I believe that Tremble just forced that Sunder away from Wolves. Joey Donuts looked like he got yanked from the Tremors right as that Sunder got fired off.
I'd say that's best case scenario for Astral Authority because they were going a little bit too deep, I think, against Cloud. They expended his Aegis, but with the rest of his team to provide support there, I don't think that Cloud was in that immediate of danger to get first blooded since they were running cooldowns. Chacho expends his sprint, but I would much rather trade out a sprint for an Aegis all day long.
And Covey was never there. He spent that entire time in mid lane, pushed an entire wave under tower, now a second wave that Clow is going to miss the majority of underneath that mid tier 1 towers. Joey Donuts not deterred with his mid laner being behind, and for good reason. It's Covey the one taking the majority of the poke there.
Covey is going to need to be a little bit more careful with his positioning this game against this Zeus and Raven. Unlike the Chang'e, he doesn't have the immunity in his own kit to escape and peel for himself. Poseidon, he's not exactly the most mobile. Sure, you get a nice little speed boost, but it's not active at all times, and he can certainly fall victim to the burst from Joey Donut and Cloud if he's not careful.
Chang'e certainly easier to juke with, though. After Chang'e, in terms of mid-ranges, just with that increased movement speed, Poseidon and Ra are right there. Good heart bomb off the root from Daily Dale. Definitely a kill lane over here. I mean, just like you saw that little interaction. And also, Xing Chen kind of fill that same role of Beads Burner that the Athena wanted to play. Good damage coming out of Clow off the Chain Lightning between Covey and Brochacho, but now the chase is on, and Clow picks the wrong path, I think. Brochacho's coming around, but a good juke out of the veteran mid laner puts Brochacho in trouble. He's could fall here. One more hit should do it, but the shield comes out in time. He's going to be able to escape. Now Covey very low. Chaotic Purpose still on that front side. Stuns out Joey Donuts. Needs one more hit for the first blood. KP just trying to full commit. Transonics bounces Joey Donuts into that first blood, and with a beautiful rotation is going to find a second. Covey's actually going to be the one to get that credit. Daily Dale does put Starboys on the board and is looking for one more.
And now Transonics, he's getting whipped into the Cupid Heart Bomb, but I don't think he's in any immediate danger. And without the stun to proc off of that Cupid Heart Bomb, it's completely safe for Trans. Very smart of him to not opt to use his beads there, unlike Covey, but it's understandable for Covey because had Covey been plucked into that, he could have definitely died to Cupid.
Was very low there, Covey, exactly. But what a beautiful rotation from Transonics. I mean, that is a hunter's dream, especially Hu Yi's dream, to come behind a Zeus that doesn't have any beads, doesn't have any Aegis. You just get to drop the stuns on him for free.
It looked like Transonics also got that initial kill with the Ricochet, and that is just excellent timing by him to wait it out and line it up against that wall and get the 100% damage.
Just off the mark with that Cabrakan ult. Joey Donuts was pinned, but on the wrong side. Was on the wrong side of the walls, was pinned against them and the wall. As soon as Clow and Daily Dale broke it for him, he was able to waltz out of there without too much issue, but Covey did hold on to that Kraken. One thing that we didn't really talk about is that Raven, one of the reasons why he kind of rose to prominence so quickly is because of how good his matchup into Poseidon is. You just really shouldn't ever get hit by that Kraken between the Mystic Rush and overhead kick.
He's got an excellent way to avoid all that damage, but another issue that Starboys do need to keep in mind is last game we saw Starboys prioritizing the early objectives because they had so much burst potential for it with the Vulcan. But this time, Astral Authority with the Huyi and Poseidon, those ultimates can shred any Gold Fury early on.
Joey Donuts doesn't quite get that final fire elemental, but does not get stunned out by wolves either, so even though he doesn't get the farm, it's not a big deal. Kovi's in trouble in the mid lane. Good rotation from Cameron this time. The Hunters have made the early game impact. That one's Cameron with that Fields of Love. Good play by Cloud to force Kovi back right into the waiting clutches of Cameron.
Cameron did use his beads, though, even after the Kraken had already landed. So with his beads down, I'm sure that Kovi has probably called that out. And so Transonics will probably be looking to play that lane much more aggressively now.
Normally, it's Cupid the one who wants to get the enemy Hunter's beads down and then play aggressive. But you're right. I think that Transonics could be the one looking for the solo kill. And there's a good reason why we see Daily Dale poke his head in on the left-hand side, just to make sure that Cameron can farm up safely with low mana and no beats.
And Trans still has actually a decent experience lead on Cameron. Even with Cameron making that rotation and securing the kill in the mid lane, he's still about 3/4 of a level behind Trans. And that makes a pretty big impact considering that Transonics right around levels 9 through 12. He just deals so much damage between his Ricochet and having his Mark of the Crow with a couple of points in it.
And Transonics has about a 500 gold lead in that lane as well, courtesy of that First Blood rotation and assist. Cloud locked in. The Aegis saves him from the 2 from Kabrakan. Not a lot of follow-up damage to Kovi, who steps too far forward. The rest of Starboys is saying, Cloud, you're fine. There's no more damage coming. Joey Donuts chasing down Brochacho. Not quite enough damage to find him for the moment. A good stun from KP. It's going to save his support's life. But Kovi takes another spill early on here, 1 and 2 now.
Kovi's got to be careful because he's already starting to fall pretty far behind. And in mid lane, that's a rough spot to be in because you're already splitting your waves with 1 or 2 other people at all points in time. So you've got to be careful that you're able to secure a little bit of farm for yourself. I'd imagine that they want Kovi to try and look to solo the back Harpies, make sure that he catches back up the Cloud because it's great having a Poseidon, but if you don't have the gold to get your itemization online, you're not going to be doing too much.
Transonic uses the beads on the left side to make sure that he gets out of that mesmerize from the Fields of Love. Cameron still doesn't have his beads up, but Trans doesn't try and turn it around onto him too quickly.
And it looks as though Wolves forced out of the lane by Dr. Flick. I think that Wolves is probably more than aware that he's got to be careful in this lane. Cameron trying to just keep Trans from backing. I don't think Trans really wants to back, though.
Now he's going to drop the ultimate. Again, more in the name of clearing the wave, though, here, Taku. He'd already missed that Ricochet. Had to know that he had 0 kill potential onto Cameron there, but just to, as you mentioned, trying to get back to base as quickly as possible.
Nothing wrong with expending your Huyi ultimate, especially if you don't feel as though a team fight is going to be occurring anytime soon. You can usually get away with dropping that, but they do need to keep an eye out for Starboys to make sure they're not trying to secure that Gold Fury now that Transonics doesn't have his ultimate available.
Trans 1v2 in this lane. Daily Dale shows up once more. No purification beads for the Hunter, but Dale can't quite close the gap, but he's got no jump and nowhere to go. Knocked up right into the Kraken. The CC chain is good, but he's still alive for the moment. Shield's going to save Kovi from getting tossed, but Transonic still goes for the ride. Daily Dale still alive. Transing to find one more auto, and he will, but it's bought enough time for Joey to get here. He finds Kovi. One more should do it onto Transonic. Cloud's going to get credit for it with a nice rotation out of the mid lane. Now trying to finish off the jungler Chaotic Purpose as he tries to retreat with Brochacho, but look at where Flick is looking for that initiation. Rallies right on top of Brochacho, doesn't find the stun, but it doesn't matter. Flick with another kill, 2-1 and 2 now for the jungle Robin, and Starboys doubling Astral Authority in kills, 6-3.
And it's really only Wolves in the area left to defend if Starboys opt to try and pick up that Gold Fury. Cloud, he doesn't have his ultimate. He did choose to use it at that engagement, and that was an excellent gank by Cloud. So I do believe that it's probably safer for them to not try and overextend onto the Gold Fury to lose any members after such a good team fight.
Kovi's coming back, but ultimate shouldn't be up for a little bit longer. Should have it soon enough. Use it on that left-hand side, but took forever to kill Daily Dale, and that's what you expect out of Xing Chen, man. He's a tanky Guardian. I mean, gets pretty good base scaling, as well as that Mark of the Vanguard and Reinforced Greaves combination really make it difficult to kill him.
If Daily Dale keeps surviving for that long and he keeps taking Astral Authority way too long to secure those kills, every single team fight, I think, is probably going to go against them.
You can't just, you don't have the Nemesis this time around, right? You don't have that quick burst onto the Guardians. There's still a lot of frontliners on Starboy's roster. This time it's 2 Warriors and a Guardian. Transonics, don't think he has Purification Beads on this side. Cameron waits out that Mesmerize to make sure that this Heart Bomb is going to hit, but no stun there. Good ultimate from Transonics. Both Hunters going to walk away, but Cameron has that sustain in the Cupid kit, whereas Transonics has no lifesteal, no sustain, already very low.
That was a great choice by Trans, though, to just drop his ultimate on top of himself, because if Cameron wanted a box, he was going to have to deal with that. And now, Chaotic Purpose lurking, been spotted out, though, by Cam, so don't think that he'll be falling anytime soon to this Kraken.
We already talked about Clou's want for some revenge as Joey Donuts finds Covey in the jungle once more. Covey is in the wrong spot there, surrounded and punished for it. Joey Donuts was his third. We talked about Clow wanting revenge against Transonics and Wolves, but also got to keep in mind Cameron and Chaotic Purpose were on the same team, have had some pretty public Twitter bouts, so you know that those guys want to beat each other pretty badly. Chaotic Purpose won game 1, but Cameron trying to win game 2, and another Gold Fury call from Starboys. Worked for them in game 1. It's going to work for them again in game 2. First Gold Fury of the game goes to Starboys. It's going to push their lead to a respectable margin. Before, it was negligible. Now it's actually tangible, 1,700 gold.
And this is starting to become a real concern for Brochacho, especially because he was rocking the level 7 Geb there.
Yeah.
Everybody else is 9 or higher, especially on the support end. So it's clear that Chacho's he's struggling for farm right now, and it's because he's rotating a lot, but it looks like in the mid lane, Cloud's actually going to kill Brochacho yet again. Joey Donut picking up Covey, but at least Chaotic Purpose gets the return kill onto Cloud.
Starboys win a 3v2 and come out on top 2-1 in kills, and that's not a good look for Astral Authority. Joey Donuts definitely feeling himself this time. 4-1-3 for the jungler. Now Transonics is toast on that left-hand side. Heart Bomb's gonna pop him before he even comes down from the dive bomb. Cameron finds the kill on to the other Hunter, as you would say, Taco, soloed, despite Daily Dale literally setting it up for him.
There's never any respect for the 1v1. There's never any respect for the 1v1, and Daily Dale is certainly not respecting it. He's been hanging out in this dual lane so much, and the main reason he's able to do that is because of how much pressure Starboys have on the rest of the map. Last game, we saw Robin jungle didn't really get to make anything happen. The Nemesis was just the complete countering factor to that setup potential that they were trying to get going on the side of Starboys. But now with Cloud rocking the Zeus alongside of the Robin, that burst damage is just insane. He still has the Sunder available in him as well, and it just seems as though Brochacho has been a primary focus alongside of Covey, because Chacho's put himself in some pretty bad spots trying to save his mid laner.
Absolutely, and I mean, you were saying you were worried about Brochacho's level. I'm a little bit more worried about Covey's. I mean, he's level 10. He's down a level to the support. Daily Dale's level 11 on the other side. Brochacho just now hitting level 8, so you're right. That experience difference definitely the big deciding factor right now, leading to Starboys' lead.
It's just going to come down to, I think, Astral Authority's experience and playing from behind, because they're still a very experienced team. Their team fight potential is definitely still there. Wolves is doing excellently in his lane, so it's very possible that he can provide a tanky enough presence to make up for Brochacho being so far behind and just get that little bit of extra peel for Covey so he can at least survive through the team fights.
Transonics misses the ricochet after the knock-up from the dive bomb, and look at the rotation coming. Trans knows he's caught. Brochacho's there trying to tell him that he's there to give him some help, but can't quite get there to shield him in time. Don't think it would have made a difference anyways. Brochacho's got to bail out with that rollout. Cameron just baits in Transonics to playing a little bit over aggressive, and that's something that both of these Hunters have been known to fall for time and time again.
And this time, though, it's Cameron. He's got his team backing him up, and that's the perfect play every single time. As a Cupid especially, you have the 1v1 boxing potential, especially against a Huyi. And speaking of boxing potential, Covey just absolutely getting run down by Joey Donut. Sunder effect has wore off. The Kraken's out, but no damage.
There's some damage on Dr. Flick on this right side, though. Wolves is going to be part of his first kill of this engagement. Tier 2 was chased all the way down. Dr. Flick 2 is Tier 2. Tier 2 on the left-hand side, that's getting focused down. Cameron trying to guarantee it. Brochacho tried his best to body block there, but couldn't quite save it. So 1,500 gold goes Starboy's way. And now that entire Tier 2 side is exposed. Tier 1 tower in mid also fell. So 2,000 gold in total very quickly in Starboy's favor.
The gold disparity isn't even really that drastic yet. Sure, it's 15 minutes in and you're down around a little bit more than 4K gold. That can be rough, but I'm mostly just looking at that experience lead. Starboys are so far ahead, 7K in experience.
That's a tough mountain to climb. And climbing, exactly, as they get the Portal Demon. And now thinking about the Fire Giant, but Wolves is here, and this is the one person on Astral Authority that you can't really fight around right now. Everyone else has been shut down pretty effectively, but Wolves is still Wolves. He's still up 2 levels on Dr. Flick after that gank on the right side from Chaotic Purpose. And Wolves has gone for a pretty early game focused build here between the Mark of the Vanguard, that Gladiator Shield, and the Breastplate of Valor. He's got 3 items completed to Dr. Flick's 1 plus a tier 1 of a cloak. That's really not very effective. Kraken comes out, but it's Aegis, I think, there. Not a lot of damage. Cameron gets locked down by Chaotic Purpose, but Kobe's on the run on the backside. Transonic's trying to assist. Cameron 1 HP from death, but he picks up 2 of his own hearts and jukes out the Somersault Cloud. Good stun coming out of Flick. Locks Wolves in that Lightning Storm. Clow is able to get the kill, and the rest of Astral Authority was all zoned away by just Joey Donuts and Daily Dale.
That was so greedy of Wolves to try and look for the kill onto Cameron. He had the heal, he had the support from the rest of his team. He should have just ulted and then escaped. He definitely didn't need to look for any further engagement once the rest of Starboys is there to back Cameron up. And that's kind of just what Cameron's been doing all game. He's just been there, low HP, chilling, hanging out, and the rest of his team's just backing him up every single time.
Cameron has definitely been the bait all game long, and to be the bait and be 2-0-4 is at a pretty good spot. Really speaks to how much Cameron trusts his team, even with the new member, Clow, that new member, on top of the player damage charts for the 2nd game in a row, 3, 2, and 6 for the mid laner. I think there was, during the spring split especially, I think that there was a time where the old guard of mid laners was starting to feel a little bit of pressure. I mean, Clow, Delta Marine, those guys who have been around a long time, you're starting to see guys like Baronic step up and play very, very well. Shaliber was looking okay as well. And then you got, and then this split, I think, is that turnaround where Cloud's like, all right, dudes, I'm back. It's time for me to show up. We see Baronic and Shaliber in game 1 of today, neither one having a particularly impressive performance. And that's kind of the ebb and flow, right? Where the new players tend to catch up to the veterans, they learn, and the veterans say, oh, okay, I see what you're putting down, and then use their experience to get a little bit farther ahead, and then the rookies catch up. And that's just kind of the way of the world, at least in the Smite terms.
Well, it's certainly working out for Cloud. Kobe's having an incredibly difficult time just maneuvering around the Zeus, Chain Lightnings, and this Robin. You mentioned it at the start of the game. Robin is so strong and prominent because he was picked initially just as a way to counter-engage onto this Poseidon.
And it's worked thus far. Kobe 1, 6, and 2, sitting at level 12 just now, getting access to his 2nd relic. And because he was so far behind early on, went for a very defensive build, that Winged Blade 2nd item. No extra power on that thing. It's all just HP, a little bit of attack speed, but more about the HP and the passive to get you away from the slows. Chaotic Purpose tries to find Clow all by himself, but gets controlled by the rest of Starboys. KP was all alone there, and Cameron finds the kill. Now Wolves again looking for that Somersault Cloud initiation. Cataclysm comes out for Brochacho, but Joey Donuts jumps up and over the Kraken. Kobe finally does get some revenge for how difficult Joey Donuts has made his life. But it's Starboys' fight. Dr. Flick finds Wolves. Now Brochacho on the run is going to be able to roll out of danger, but it's already a 2-for-1 in favor of Starboys.
And now Starboys are just pulling the Fire Giant. They know that Astral Authority need to back out. Transonic's getting a little bit greedy. Thought he could farm on that blue buff. Claw has to be careful here, though. Transkin looking for the Ricochet is off the mark, and Claw's just going to run away.
He's out. That Aegis saves his life. Can't say the same about Brochacho. He's going to fall. Transonics is going to be next. Aegis again. This time not going to save his life, I don't think. Daily Dale's going to get credit with the dot from the Furious Roar. Starboys up 17-6. Astral Authority struggling in this one, Taco.
Every single time, just that last little bit of health, that moment where you'd expect the veteran team to just understand we should just back off. It's too greedy now. And in all fairness for Transonics, though, he was probably going to be chased down into the T1 regardless and die anyway. But I would have preferred to see him look for the escape possibilities much sooner than what he did, because looking for that kill on the Clow, it just cost him too much time.
Chaotic Purpose trying to find some farm, but Daily Dale will steal that away as well. Dale sitting at level 14 right now, only behind 2 members of Astral Authority in terms of the XP so far this game. And that's Wolves, who just hit level 18, still the highest level in the game, but not the highest in terms of net worth. Plenty of gold onto Cameron and Joey Donuts, both above that 10,000 total net worth mark as Dr. Flick gets stunned in the Whirlpool. Decent damage coming out of Covey, who has finally completed that Gem of Isolation, but still not a lot of just outright power in that build quite yet. Starboy is trying to do that Portal Demon. Flick is the distraction, and he does his job beautifully. He's going to get out, and also Starboy's used 2 ultimates there. 2 pretty big ones, Fields of Love and that Whirlwind of Rage and Steel. Wolves zoning on the front side, whereas Clow is in trouble, locked in with KP, and Chaotic Purpose is gonna find him. Clow gets his 3rd death of the game. Kabraken's gonna be able to get out as well. This time, he's the one who escapes with 1 HP, and Astral Authority are trying to turn this around.
That was actually an excellent fight by Astral Authority. What has been looking like a completely abysmal team fights for them, they finally find the pick that they've been trying to get this entire time, and that was neutralizing Clow. As soon as Clow is removed from the team fight, Starboys no longer want to take up any fight.
And Cameron and Daily Dale both whiffing their ultimates there. A big reason why we see AA take that one. That game, or that time around, Cameron's ultimate was just used to try and peel for Dr. Flick, but that Fields of Love has been so big in terms of locking down Covey after he uses his purification beads, forcing the beads out of Transonics, locking down Brochacho. I mean, there's so much that Cupid ultimate can do, and that was the first time we didn't really see it utilized well. No surprise, that's the first fight that Astral Authority takes. Now they're trying to take another one, this time by the Gold Fury. Chaotic Purpose all by himself in that front side. Joey Donuts turns around just to put that damage onto him. Good Whirlpool coming out of Covey, but no Kraken follow-up quite yet. Joey Donuts falling pretty low. Wolves on the chase, trying to get there, but that decoy betrays and stuns out the most of Astral Authority. Brochacho rolling out, trying to close the gap, but the disengage is good for the moment until Daily Dale picks up multiple. The wall from Chaotic Purpose blocks him from the Fields of Love, but it's still a lot of damage on the Chaotic Purpose. Geb Shield is beautifully timed out of Brochacho, and the Kraken is immune by Joey Donuts. Cameron finds 1, Joey the other. Dr. Flick gets 1 for himself as well. 3 for 0. Starboys taking it to the Spring Split champs.
Just a little bit too much too soon. They were starting to they had that excellent team fight. They back off, and then they just look for it again. And Starboys were clearly solely committing to the retreat there. They just wanted to back off entirely. And once they started getting into their side of the jungle, I would have preferred to see Astral Authority just back off a little bit. That they thought they could take the engagement. They thought that they'd split up Starboys enough to make it favorable. But the AoE just came through way too strong for Starboys and their ultimates.
Starboys now trying to get the Fire Giant. Again, this is probably the 3rd time they've pulled it. Transonics worried about Cameron, and he stuns him into that knockup. But Transonics goes the wrong spot, doesn't get a chance to jump away, and Flick is going to get that kill, his 3rd of the game. Cameron needs to sustain a little bit from these hearts. Daily Dale also pretty low. It's only Wolves and Brochacho here for the moment.
And Joey Donut now the target of Wolves. And Starboys, they can't commit to this Fire Giant just yet. And that's 100% in Astral Authority's favor, even with Transonics dying.
Wolves trying to find the stun, finds it on the Joey Donuts. It locked inside that Whirlpool, and Brochacho guarantees it with the Shockwave. Good kill there, and a big one for Brochacho, getting a lot of golden experience that was much needed just now. 23 minutes in, almost 24, finally hitting level 12.
And this delay of the Fire Giant Siege is perfect for Astral Authority, because if you look at their composition, this is still a pretty late game oriented composition, especially once Brochacho keeps getting a little bit more levels. He's going to be even more effective on the Geb. He's probably already got his shield maxed out, but having everything else available to him and possibly some CDR going into his kit, he is opting for the Sunder 2nd active, and I think that's the right choice to make here, because he knows that his team isn't dealing that much damage. He knows that Covey's certainly lacking damage, and he's going to be for a bit, so that'll be a perfect item selection to help deal with that.
Wolves gets zoned away by Cloud's ultimate, forces him back towards the opposition side of the map. There's the Somersault Cloud coming out, will get him up in time. The rotation in, Covey and Brochacho want to come and help their solo laner, but the question is, should they? Fields of Love not gonna mess him out. Another stun comes through, up into the Kraken. Wolves is gonna be safe, but he baited out 3 ultimates there, Taco.
It did cost the Kraken, but the question is, I mean, the Kraken hasn't really been dealing damage anyway.
Brochacho finds the 2-man Cataclysm. There's the pickup and toss from Daily Dale, but Chaotic Purpose uses the Purification Beads to get away. Transonics is getting soloed by Joey Donuts. Perfect shield, though, out of Brochacho. Saves his duo lane partner's life. No shield for the Tier 1 tower. That's going to fall. 500 more gold for Starboys. They're the ones who are a little bit healthier now. Transonics has to back very, very low. Covey low in terms of mana as well. Starboys again with this jungle control.
The shield, the Geb shield there was just way too clutch for Transonics. Even with the Aegis, I'm certain that Joey Donut would have probably kept committing to that to look for that last little slither of HP that Transonics is holding on to. It appears as though Starboys want to look for this Portal Demon yet again. They're really prioritizing the Portal Demon because they just want that fight where they can engage, find a pick or two, and then disengage, and then fall back, heal up, and then go back in. But now it's Dr. Flick who's going to be costing his life because of it.
Flick pays for it once again. Wolves is pretty far up in this mid lane, does have his ultimate. Now he's going to go aggressive. Joey Donuts very low, knocked up, but not enough follow-up damage quite yet from the rest of Astral Authority. Chaotic Purpose trying to lead the charge underneath this Tier 2 tower as the Tier 1 falls. Transonics is back. Covey back with a little bit of mana as well, but now Astral Authority realize they're still down about 9,000 gold. And even with a 4v5, I don't know if that's a fight they want to take under the opposition tower.
They're still down 9,000 gold, but that experience difference is little by little being worked away at. And I know it's still a 10.5k lead in favor of Starboys, which is still fairly devastating. But a lot of that's mostly just going onto the support role. And Brochacho doesn't really need levels. He just needs to get excellent shields and ults.
Can't shield Covey now because he gets picked up with him. Covey has to use the Purification Beads as Cameron finds Wolves on the top side. Brochacho completely isolated, not as isolated as Chaotic Purpose, who is dead and alone. Another kill for the Donut Man. Joey Donuts 8, 3, and 9. And now the Fire Giant finally started once more by Starboys. Flick this time probably doesn't need to give up his life for the zoning as Brochacho trying to control Cameron. Good combo there between the jungler, or excuse me, the mid laner and the support. Covey finds a kill. He will fall here, but even if Starboys get the Fire Giant, their Hunter won't have it.
And one more time, Astral Authority deters Starboys. Even if for a moment they deter them from the Fire Giant. And because of that, Wolves will be spawning fairly soon. They might still be able to secure this, but Brochacho's not looking to give it up. He's willing to try and trade his life. Him and Transonics are still lingering around, and there it goes. Brochacho is going to fall victim to the rest of Starboys, but I think that Trans is still potentially looking for this.
Or he wants to push that Tier 2. Wolves is about to be up, just now respawning, and does have teleport. The closest ward is on the bottom left-hand side, and Wolves is going to teleport to it, but it's not in time as Starboys get the Fire Giant. Cameron doesn't get it. He was still on the bench. Doesn't matter, 4 members got it. Joey Donuts finds another one, 11 for him now on this Robin jungle. Transonics takes his 6th spill of the game. Starboys now decidedly in control. They have been for a little bit, but that Fire Giant and series of kills not only gives them the FG, but pushes that gold lead up above 10,000.
And Transonics also just now managing to finish his Blood Forge. Just he's been so far behind in gold.
Oh,
and
Clow
chaotic.
again baits in Chaotic Purpose and punishes him for it once more. That's been the theme for me, Taco, is just the baits by Starboys and the over-aggression by Astral Authority.
And there's 3 members of Starboys with a 20k plus in damage. And you've got Cameron on the Cupid, the Zeus, and the Robin. Robin dealing as much damage as a Zeus is impressive.
Absolutely. Really taking that lead that he got and running away with it. He's trying to run down someone else. Now it's Covey once more, level 16. Cataclysm for Brochacho stops the aggression onto the mid laner, but may have paid for it himself. Indeed he does. Daily Dale with his 4th of the game. Kraken's going to knock up Clow and do some good damage. Transonics is going to clean him up because of it. Good Kraken there out of Covey. Clow had no relics. But Covey 1 HP trying to run away. Slow from Wolves. Knock up as well. Disrupts the Furious Roar. That's slow, but there's no way Covey gets out of this one. No health, no mana. Wolves looks like he could fall here as well. Gets up into the cloud, but it doesn't matter. Cameron with his 7th. Meanwhile, Daily Dale is playing some Benny Hill music in his headset, just chasing down Covey.
Nowhere to run any longer. Covey didn't even have the mana to try and escape from that, like you mentioned. Transonics and Chaotic Purpose immediately setting their eyes onto this Gold Fury, trying to get their team just a little bit more gold in their pockets, see if they can possibly finish off a couple of items, start some. Just anything to get rolling for Astral Authority is good. I
like this call from Astral Authority, and whereas Covey spends, you know, a long time juking around, you may be asking, what's the point? Just put down your controller and accept that you're going to die in that situation. It keeps Starboys on that right-hand side of the map, prevents their backs, makes sure that they're chasing them a little bit longer, and that gives Astral Authority a window to get a little bit more global gold, and Lord knows they need it right now. They're still sitting on a lot of power items needing to be completed. Transonics just now starting to work on his pen, has gotten the Fatalis and Bloodforge, so a couple really expensive items in that build for Transonics. No Rod of Tahuti yet for Covey. Fields of Love down from Cameron, not enough to find a kill, but the mid Phoenix is about to fall. Cameron gets gobbled up. Transonics gets credit, even though it was majority Brochacho with the control alongside Chaotic Purpose. But no one can stop Joey Donuts from ruining Covey's life. That's the 10th death for Covey, and I'll bet you Joey Donuts has been a part of all 10. 12, 3, and 12 for the jungler.
That is just so rough as a Poseidon trying to face off against the Robin. Joey Donuts has completely turned the tables from last game. Last game we saw him with the 10 deaths, and he's like, no, not again, and 100% just destroying Covey's life.
Let's see how you like it when you die 10 times. That's what Joey Donuts is saying. Astral Authority trying to peel Starboys off of the Portal Demon. It's a 4-on-4. Covey the one on the respawn timer, whereas Cameron there for Starboys has to sit and watch. But that's a victory for Astral Authority in and of itself. 4v4 when losing Covey. Covey hasn't been particularly effective this game anyways. Cameron has been on the other side, so you could understand Astral Authority thinking about taking the engagement, but in the end they decided to give up the goose and allow Starboys to get that Portal Demon.
I think this is probably the most depressing part for Covey, is that early on he knew that he was behind and that he was just going to be, he was out of position from the start. He got punished for it pretty heavily, a little bit too greedy on a couple of engagements and just smart down by the Robin essentially. But early on, when you fall that far behind, you just try to prioritize yourself as somebody who's going to drop Whirlpool and look for the slows. Unfortunately, though, he had the Wingblade for that second item slot, and you can't blame him for wanting to go for the defensive route, considering he was just getting focused down. But I feel as though the Wingblade came out a little bit too late for him, and he was already just so far behind that it wasn't really able to have that defensive impact that he was looking for in terms of survivability.
I think when you say too late for him, a lot of people are going to say, but Taco, he bought it right after Boots. But I think you're right. I mean, he just died so many times before that at that point you just got to throw up your hands and say, well, at least I'm going to try and do damage before I die. Joey Donuts eats a little bit of damage. The Kraken does not come out from Covey, as Joey Donuts still had the ultimate available. Good patience out of the mid laner there. Sunder was used by Chaotic Purpose to knock Joey down to that low HP, and with the Fire Giant respawning, this could be the best fight that Astral Authority is going to get with that jungler controlled, Daily Dale controlled on this bottom left-hand side, but not enough there. Covey wasn't close enough to use that Kraken. Now tries to pop in and use it, but Cloud uses the Aegis to get away from it. Cloud does fall to the damage from Chaotic Purpose, and Wolves comes crashing down, but so does Joey Donut, still trying to chase down the backline members of Astral Authority. Dr. Flick still completely healthy here, not worried about just running down Transonics and Covey.
Yeah, I feel like we haven't talked about Dr. Flick enough this game. We've been, I mean, it's hard to when you've got Joey Donut who's just having an excellent performance and playing absolutely insane, but Dr. Flick has been that follow-up after the follow-up person. It's anytime that Cloud just leaves or walks away from an engagement scenario, Dr. Flick has just been there to completely chase out Astral Authority. With this Bologna, he's entirely too tanky, and there's really nobody on the side of Astral that can deal with the tanky composition that Starboys have.
Absolutely. I mean, there's not a lot to deal with that because Covey still doesn't have the purification beads, or excuse me, that Rod of Tahuti. to really punch through and get that damage necessary to find those kills. Right side Phoenix falls, and Chaotic Purpose locks in everybody there with that Cabrakan ultimate, but no one's close enough to follow up with any damage. Wolves trying to find Cloud with that Somersault Cloud. He will stomp him down, but Flick is there as well with that Eagles rally. Good damage coming out of Daily Dale from the back as Joey Donuts comes around the side. Dale finds one, Joey the other. Now 2 dead for Astral Authority. Big Cataclysm out of Brochacho. Gets everybody off Wolves for a second, but Cameron's going to chase him down with that Flutter. Dale comes around the side trying to help out his Hunter as Transonics wants to take the 1v1. Joey Donuts cleans up Brochacho all the way in the Titan room, and Starboys decide they don't need that left side Phoenix. They need this victory. Astral Authority in 2 weeks finds 2 splits, and it's Starboys coming out of relegations taking down the Spring Split champs.
And this is best case scenario by far for Starboys, getting a pick, a clean game as well. They've been in control of this game since the very start, and considering it's a little bit of a salty run back too for the Robin jungle, because typically when you have such, I wouldn't say a poor performance, but when you get shut down so early because of the Nemesis, it's very evident that they made the right choice when it came to the picks and bans stage. They got rid of the Chunga early on. They said, no thanks, Kobe, we're done with you dancing around all of us, but I just love their optimization as far as the draft was concerned.
I think that's the thing. Covey just did not look comfortable to me on the Poseidon. And you look at the god pool that he usually plays, it's Thoth, it's Chunga, it's Isis, it's gods like that. The Poseidon just was a different feel. The Zeus as well. So you take the Zeus away from him, give it to Clow as you mentioned, and then Covey picks that Poseidon very early on, and Joey Donuts really just had his way with him in that jungle, really destroyed that mid laner, and that's really what you're designed to do with that Robin jungle. That's going to do it for set number 2. Astral Authority and Starboys split. Stay tuned. We'll be right back with Obey Alliance in the final set.
Need to confess.